So what will be Standard Bank's role to help plug, the huge gap that might come up between demand and supply of power in Nigeria? Because from available records, Standard Bank is funding some of the biggest power projects across Africa. So do you see Standard Bank, through Stanbic IBTC, of course, playing a similar role in Nigeria's power sector?
Well, I mean, the Standard Bank is the largest bank in Africa. It is committed to this landscape, and Nigeria is an important country strategically for the group. So it therefore follows that the key developments within the economy will be a focal point for the sector. I mean, the advantage I think Standard Bank has and Stanbic IBTC has is that we can draw on broader expertise across a group that has been engaged in various sectors, including power, across the continent, and bring that expertise to bear when funding opportunities and scenarios present themselves in the Nigerian landscape. So I certainly think that we are poised to be relevant and supportive of that sector over the medium term.
Well, Dele, let's look at another sector you mentioned, agriculture. Now, we know that there have also been reforms in the agricultural value chain, and government's interventions have been actually aimed at direct funding and providing needed investment to farmers. Now, from an investor's perspective, have the dynamics in agriculture business changed much?
Based on what we can see right now, and what is being on the table, I think yes, we are gradually moving away from what agric used to be in this country to what it should actually be. It's moving right now from the subsistence agriculture that we run to people begin to see agric as a business.
Just like what the minister has been preaching.
And I want to believe that, okay, good, moving forward, we're beginning to see, we should see new investment in the areas of, processing, even mechanized farming, large, livestock farming and all whatnot. And if you look at the market as it is right now, agric, the contribution to our GDP, it's very, very interesting. I mean, about over 40% to about, and it's not actually replicated on the floor of the exchange. I mean, when you look at the number of agric companies that are listed there. So I want to believe the end product, the end result of this reform that we are seeing in agric will actually help, and we'll begin to see some processing companies, some livestock, whatever that is, that will be, come on the board to be listed, and that will, the board of the exchange will actually reflect what the contribution of agric to our GDP. So I think the reform is actually in line, and we're beginning to see the results as we move on.
Well, not solely concentrated on the sectors now, or the conference for that matter. But let's look at some other issues that have come up economically. We know that Nigeria is grouped alongside Mexico, India, and Turkey as a new frontier of economic growth, with quite a few analysts optimistic about this prediction. But not a lot of Nigerians share this optimism. They feel that we might not have the same wherewithal that these other countries have, to be ranked as a mint country, as we're now being referred to. But are you optimistic are you as optimistic as the economist propagating growth in the mint countries?
I would say very, very yes, I am. Yes. And if you look at it, I think one thing that we have going for us in this country is that we have a ready market. Our population is our strength, right? And I think the economists that has actually position us or categorize us as a mint country, they know what exactly they're talking about. Because if you look, as I've said, the population is a strength, the market is there, and the potential that we have in this country. If you take a step back, look at what happened to telecoms. If only, the way we are going with the power reform, and we get it right, and we can just imagine the multiplier effect of what that we have on this economy. The little that has been done in agric, we're beginning to see the result. The port reform that came, we're beginning to see the result. Right? So all these things, when you put them together, I think, yes, we're on the right path, and to have been positioned among that group is the right decision.
If I may add, I think that it underscores again the theme of the conference, because I think that as Dele pointed out, there are some key things that make Nigeria exciting in the context of looking at Mexico and Indonesia and Turkey. We have a large population, yes. We also have, I think, some very low-hanging fruit in terms of levers of economic transformation that can begin to sort of build momentum. I think if we probably compare infrastructure in our country versus the other Mint countries, we are probably quite far behind. So some low-hanging fruit is to be harvested there if we can make some key strides over the medium term in that regard. So I certainly think that it's a time now for policy execution to deliver the transformation, as opposed to thinking, okay, what do we need to do in order to get there? We have a pretty good idea, I think.
I guess so too. But now, looking at some of those sectors, we've mentioned power, we've mentioned agriculture, we've mentioned transport. Dele also mentioned port. Which other sectors do you see contributing the most to economic recovery and growth in Nigeria, apart from these ones?
I think that the thrust that we're seeing increasingly on financial inclusion is also very important. I think this is something that the current central bank governor has been quite focused on, and some of the measures that have occurred in the banking sector, for instance, that may make for some short-term pain, should ideally translate to a greater interface between the banking sector and the real economy. Nigerians, for all our large population, we have a very limited access to credit for most Nigerians, which I think impacts the level of consumption and the level of economic activity. And I think that will also be key for harvesting some of the gains of some of these policy reforms.
Well, it seems like it's going to be an interesting talk shop. This conference is going to bring a lot to the table. We're going to be talking about power, agriculture, transport, port, and the financial inclusion. Of course, that's talking about the banking sector. But what impact do you expect this will have on key sectors, for instance, like power, at the end of the day?
Are we talking about the conference now?
Yes, that's the conference.
I think that, to my earlier point, the key thing at this stage for the power sector is about sensitization, because we've had the first wave of investment with the privatization process. I would expect that the new owners of the assets will want to get to grips with the assets they've purchased, figure out what their near-term investment needs are, and over the medium term perhaps think about coming to the market for capital and listing these companies. The conference is to enable the investors that are already interested in Nigeria to continue to be exposed to the emerging trends, so that when they are called upon to offer investment into the sector, they are already well sensitized and ready to go.
So, Dele, I guess all roads will first of all lead to Ghana. That's the Movenpick Hotel on Monday, the 3rd of February, and everybody will come back to Federal Palace Hotel on Hedibili Way for the continuation of the conference from the 4th to the 6th. So we're expecting how many participants at that conference?
Taking it from what we had last year, we have over 200, and this year we're not expecting anything less. And that's
been modest. That's been really modest.
And as Rally said, we kick off on Monday in Ghana. Then on Tuesday we move to Nigeria. The opening will be by the Honorable Minister for Investment, Trade and Industry, that's Mr. Olusegun Aganga. And after that, we have a panel session that will have the Director General of Securities and Exchange Commission, the CEO of Nigerian Stock Exchange, actually, talking about what to expect from the capital market in 2014. And from there, investors will have opportunity to sit one-on-one with listed companies and to rub minds on their strategies for 2014. What should we be expecting? In the evening, we'll have a dinner with, and we'll have as our guests the Governor of the Central Bank, that's Malam Sanusi, Lamido Sanusi, and the country CEO of General Electric, to even share their own thoughts about the reform in the power sector.
Well, it's a bumper week, and I'm very sure we have plenty of investors looking forward to it. But thank you so much, Dele and Rile, for joining me on the program this morning. It's been an interesting conversation.
Thank you very much.
Well, I've been speaking with Dele Shotubo. He's the CEO of Stanbic IBTC Stockbrokers Limited, and Rile Additional Head Research, Stanbic IBTC. And we've been looking at the upcoming Standard Bank West Africa Investors Conference. It comes up in a couple of days, actually. It starts on Monday, February the 3rd, and will run till the 6th of February. And it has the theme, Nigeria, Time to Deliver. It promises to be an interesting one. And if you're available, you can join them for this interesting conversation.